It's called I Have a Father Like You. This was done last year. I wrote it last year. My father's going on 89. He has always loved making deals. Getting good deals is what life is all about. He can still get around. He still drives the tired tracks going across the front lawn. No one seems to question. He drives to a few different stores, and when he's out shopping for food, he's always taking advantage of the deals. As the story goes, he went to Aldi's, who now takes credit cards. So he remembers pulling out his cards to pay, and then he went to Wegmans to buy some food. At the checkout counter, he couldn't find his credit cards. The cashier told him that they could put the bags behind the counter. He could come back. He figures he left them at Aldi's. They tell him at Aldi's they didn't find any credit cards. He checks the car, checks the parking lots. He goes home and cancels the credit cards. He then remembers that he had paid earlier for my mother's eye drops and had thrown them into the grocery bag in Wegmans. So he can go back to Wegmans for the drops. And on getting there, it's unusually quiet at the customer service desk. He tells the story to a woman behind the counter, and he keeps mentioning to her, it's unusually quiet here. I can actually tell you my story. Because usually there's so many people here, nobody can say anything. But he tells his story, and then another woman approaches and asks, are these his bags? And he said, yes, they are. And he says, by a long shot, did anybody turn in any credit cards? And she said, yes, they have, and here they are. And then they ask, does he want to pay for the groceries? And he tells them he has canceled the cards. And then finds that he forgot to bring cash with him. The woman he had told his story to tells him, why don't you try the cards? Maybe it hasn't gone through yet. Both cards are dead. At that moment, the woman who heard the story turned to the woman who's trying to check my father out. She tells her, give him the groceries. I'm paying for them. My father objects. The woman processes the groceries and gives my father the bags, and he says, at least let me pay you back. What's your name? And she just smiles and looks at him. He reaches out his hand and he says, I'm Stanley Richmond. And she smiles, thinking he almost caught her to give her her name, and she doesn't give the name. She turns away. And lets him go home, and when he turns away, he's now there, and there's lots of people, and he can't talk anymore, and everybody's clamoring for the people behind the desk. And my father returns home with the groceries. My father sat for a long time thinking about what happened. She had said to him, I have a dad like you.